and we're glad you could make it. It's another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate Solo, a Star Wars story 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Asterios Kokkinos from The Loudest Podcast.
And I'm Ralph Attanasia from various Food Network shows. Totally makes sense that I'm here.
Yes.
So glad you guys could come back, and I hope you have your match game answers ready to go for today's episode. If you recall, yesterday's minute ended with Lando saying, "You can't make the Kessel Run in less than 20 blank." 20 blank.
20 blank.
Ralph, you're going first. He says, "Hi, Asterios."
Oh, look at that.
20 high Asterios.
So, as we learned
20.
in this minute, the correct answer is parsecs. The answer we're looking for is...
You jumped the gun here.
You were supposed to let everybody else...
It's jokes first, then answers.
No, that's not how match game works. Match game, the contestant reveals their answer, and then they see if there's any matches. That's
True, actually.
That's how match game
right.
works.
There's more
So,
tension
I withdraw
there.
my boo.
Asterios, what's your answer? You can't make the Kessel Run in less than 20...
In less than 20 impressions of Billy D. Williams that get less interesting each rewatch.
All right. Not a match, but it is a hot take, so we'll give you partial
definitely a
points
hot
for that.
take.
Ooh.
Pete, what's your answer? Can't make the Kessel Run in less than 20...
In less than 20 guns. Some on the surface, some on the tower. I decided to stay in universe for that one.
All right, let's see what my answer is. Well, we do have a match. I said guns.
Hey!
Some on the surface, some on the tower.
Look at that.
My God. That's
So there you go.
That's incredible.
The highest areas.
So unfortunately, no matches there. But minute 87 starts off with Lando saying parsecs, and then Han saying "Watch me," and it ends a minute later with a TIE fighter hitting a space ROCK.
Hey, is parsecs what the married couple from The Incredibles have?
Wow! Star
Yes.
Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute. Num num cookie.
Hey, speaking of parsecs, I found out something interesting. Apparently, in the fourth draft of the script for Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, not that it was called back then, in the scene where Han Solo says, yes, made the Kessel Run less than 12 parsecs, the script says, the stage directions or whatever, says Ben reacts to Solo's stupid attempt to impress them with obvious misinformation. So at least at some point during the story, it was clear that Han Solo was lying and Obi-Wan was onto him.
And he does. Obi-Wan gives him a like.
Right, but now we learn he's not lying. He does beat in less than 12 parsecs. So
Did we learn?
Well, I mean, it's
I feel, it's the type of thing that this is what happens when you try too hard to explain things and you miss the point.
Yeah, we keep learning time and time again that everything is made better by explaining everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just go back and really lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I agree with you guys almost all of the time except this time. The idea that they have to get this, it's not that there's just a ticking time bomb. It's that they're carrying it is so interesting. They're not just trying to steal something. They're trying to steal something that will kill them if they don't make it somewhere in time.
Yeah.
It's not only will the bad guys kill them, but also the jewel will. The MacGuffin will also kill them is pretty cool.
It's like the Death Star plans in R2 will explode if we don't get them to Yavin 4 by that time.
Right.
Yeah.
The Maltese Falcon is nuclear.
I don't think anyone's here to say that that's not dramatic and fun. I think the problem is that a parsec isn't a measure of time, as has been pointed out by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Good God.
I thought that went over the Zoom.
Because in the EU, in the novels, they had a very similar explanation to this. I remember reading it as a kid in the Han Solo trilogy, where it was they had to get as close to this humongous black hole called the Maw without going inside it. And that was the way that they made parsecs a unit of distance, not a unit of time. I think it's like if you don't know or care what a parsec is, if you're just like some little kid and you're not trying to figure out how they explain this thing away, it's still like a really cool heist, which is what I like about this. Whereas I think like with a lot of other Star Wars stuff, like obviously midichlorians, like we could name a million things. Like explaining it does ruin the magic. Like this is
name a million things.
Okay. I mean, I guess the idea. I guess
it's not so fun when it happens to you.
No. I mean, I just don't know where to start. It's like explaining why Obi-Wan is on that planet but never talked to Luke, but he's been there, but Luke don't know him, but he's a silent guardian. It's just like, that's not super interesting. I don't need to know what Obi-Wan did for 16 years on or off Tatooine. It's kind of more interesting that like this farm boy just runs into this wizard, like explaining it. Because when you explain that, it forces you to think about it. If you're thinking about it, you're like, this is dumb.
Yeah, thinking about Star Wars is always a bad move.
Yeah.
You guys are still doing this podcast, huh?
Yeah. That's something that we've learned.
From a certain point of view.
Oh, and then also, like, why doesn't C-3PO know who these people are? It's like, okay, so they mind wiped him? Yeah, all right. It's
brutal. That's just ego.
Yeah. And it doesn't make this character more interesting. It's just like, okay, well, I guess they explain that away. But it's like, but then also, like, Jimmy Smits is so excited to mind wipe this droid. And it's like, why?
That is played for laughs.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, mind wipe that one. And it's like, wait, but not that one? He's like, no, that one's cool. I want that one to remember all the cool stuff he did.
I feel like I could have a beer with that one. This other one, he's too uptight. Erase him.
That would have been great if he says to like, one of the guards, like, take this Jedi here and have him waterboarded. And everyone's like, oh, what? So, getting back to minute number 87.
Right.
This is the moment where this is where Han Solo comes up with the idea of dismembering L3, removing her brain, and sticking it into the computer.
Yes.
And he says it with a bunch of Geordie LaForge. Oh, we'll take her Navicomputer and plug it into the reverse transponder, and that should get the,
right.
And so on.
Beryllium crystals.
Beryllium crystals, right. What would be the earthly equivalent to this? Like someone's driving their car and like, hey, why don't we, or like, like if I attach my phone to my microwave, I won't need to look up how long I'm supposed to cook stuff anymore. It'll just know automatically. And like
your phone has the most comprehensive database of how long things needed to be microwaved.
Right. Well, it's connected to the internet, and the internet has all that
right.
stuff.
Well,
so,
or if you had all your recipes on your iPad,
yeah,
and you can figure out a way to connect your iPad directly to
your
the microwave, then you can just say like, hey, cook a casserole instead of saying, because that's where you cook a casserole, in the microwave. You could just say, hey, cook a casserole instead of, like having to do all the things. So you could theoretically then do it in the least amount of time because it would be automatically switching. You wouldn't have to be like, where was what was it? Stir for what? Of course, the microwave doesn't have all the ingredients and the stirring equipment and stuff in it.
Yeah.
But.
I think I know what this should be. We should have a microwave that's also a fridge. Think about it. Because it's like, okay, I buy my groceries and whatever, and I got to put them in this, I got to put my frozen things in this like little sealed box with a hatch. And then when I want to cook it, I got to take it out of that sealed box with a hatch and put it in this other sealed box with a hatch. Wouldn't it save a lot of time to have a freezer wave?
Like a washer dryer where it's the same device.
Like a McDLT.
But that's not all.
The McDLT of appliances.
Yes!
All right. How much do you think you pay for such a device? $100?
Is this $200 thing? I'll bid $1. I wrote Mouthful of Technobabble for that because it really is. Especially they're like, we don't have time to travel the extra 5 miles. It's like, oh, I got it. Rip out the guts of your droid and attach them to the guts of the Millennium Falcon, and we'll use that to figure out a faster way. And it's just
like, it would take longer than any other thing that they were possibly going to do.
Remember your robot girlfriend who just died?
Right.
I'm going to put her brain in the ship.
Also, if they can go through the cloud why not just go around the Star Destroyer?
Bum, ba, bum.
Yeah. Like, they're like, oh no, we can't go through because the Star Destroyer's here. Well, why not just go around through? If you're going through the clouds anyway, why not just go like whoop around the Star Destroyer?
Yeah.
But
or do. Yeah.
The answer is because it's less fun.
Well, I think they do a really good job when they establish this like creepy cloud tunnel. It's like the moment they pierce that cloud tunnel, their ship is getting fucked up by micro asteroids and rocks, and it's like, you know, it's kind of like in Star Trek when that one space mercenary punched through being teleported, being like beamed away. Like it's like, uh-oh, there's trouble here. You know, it's interesting, like just with like very simple visual cues, they're like, what they're doing is incredibly dangerous. And so, I don't know, you get the sense that there's electromagnetic interference on the other side of the cloud tunnel that messes up their Navicomputer, which is why they need a super Navicomputer. Like a lot of times in Star Trek, technobabble kind of like slows things down or bores me. But this time I was like, you know, even without the technobabble, this is really interesting, this scene.
Well, I do like the fact that they're flying. That's not just more asteroids, because basically this is kind of like the asteroids with clouds thrown into it. You know what I mean? And
like
so I'm glad that they at
asteroid
least
field and Cloud City mixed into one.
Exactly, because you know we've seen asteroids in at least 2 of the films, and so I'm glad that they at least mixed it up a bit. And it really doesn't make any sense, like on a logical level, but it's classic Star Wars. You know, like. The Falcon maneuvering around deadly objects, always fun to see. So I like it. Ralph, you were about to say something.
Oh, I was gonna say what I like is Lando's hair in this one.
His hair.
No, he's there.
Oh, he's there. He said Lando's hair.
In this. I'm like, I agree, but
yeah.
You guys, you had me on for these insightful insights.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what I deliver.
Do you like Donald Glover in general in this film?
Yeah, I like him in general. I like him specifically in this. I say good.
Team Glover. Asterios?
He doesn't like him. Look at that face.
That's not true. I liked it the first time, but I think what Donald Glover is doing is like an incredibly good party trick. And when you see it a second time, you're kind of like, okay.
I feel like you're at a party.
And then a third and
everyone hates that.
It's like with the shark in Jaws. It's like the first time I was like, ah. But then the second time and the third time, you're like, this kind of does look like I see why they really had to edit around this shark.
It's funny because I remember when this movie first came out, everyone loved Donald Glover in it and thought he was great. Oh, the Hugh Lando show. And then now, since we started doing the show, I felt like there was kind of like a backlash. Everyone's like, oh, he's doing an impression. It's a one note, whatever. So, you know,
I think I've talked to you guys about this. In fact, I think there was no reason to do a prequel about Han Solo because his story happens in the Star Wars movies. Like that's where his character arc happens. But when we first meet up with Lando in Empire Strikes Back, he like somehow went from being a pirate and a gambler to now being like the administrator of this respectable Cloud City and all this stuff. And like somehow you had this big character arc. Mm-hmm. That's a story that hasn't been told. Tell that.
Yeah,
it's true.
Can't argue.
No.
You can. That's fine. Right. Go for it.
You're wrong.
Damn it. I shouldn't have. I opened the door wide up for that one.
Here's what I think the bottom line is, boys. I think we all like Donald Glover. Mm-hmm. And I think we all like Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And but I think as time has gone on, my respect for Donald Glover has gone up to the point where I'm kind of like, I kind of wish there was more Glover in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
More glove. Give me more of that glove. I love the glove.
Smell the glove.
I mean, we could get Crispin Glover and Danny Glover in there, I guess.
Or Crispin Glover as Lando Calrissian would be amazing.
Just cycle through those 3 actors for the whole movie.
Right.
That would have been awesome if Crispin Glover showed up and they realized they hired the wrong Glover, but they were too embarrassed to say anything. So Crispin Glover wound up playing Lando Calrissian. Yeah.
He's
Well,
like,
that's,
I've got a full sabac and a cute rat.
Who was the who was the white guy who played Lando in Return of the Jedi radio drama? This is not a was not a trivia question. I can't remember either. I'm looking it up.
They meant to get Billy D. Williams. They got Brian Williams. He's pretty white.
The only bit of casting in that I remember is Ed Begley Jr. played Boba Fett.
Yes.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Ed Begley Jr. played Boba Fett. Ed Asner played Jabba the Hutt. John Lithgow played Yoda. Brock Peters, of course, is Darth Vader. Yardley Smith plays 99.
Oh, that's
droid.
Lisa Simpson.
Yeah.
99. They had one actor just for that one. Radio. That's a weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It worked. The answer was Ari Gross. Ari Gross, most notably Adam Green in the ABC sitcom Ellen, I suppose, according to Wikipedia.
That notable?
Is it? I don't know.
I watched Ellen as a kid.
He was also
It was on.
Gordon Bloomfield in the movie Soul Man.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I watched
Man.
Soul Man as a kid. It was on
Soul Man.
Comedy Central every day at 2:00.
But he was, and also just a bunch of random TV appearances and what have you, and extra things here and there. He played Lando for some reason in the Return of the Jedi radio drama, which was made in 1996. It was a different time then.
Really? 96? It was that late?
Yeah. The original ones were in the early 80s, and then they were, once Star Wars kind of picked back up again with the Zahn books and the special editions on the horizon, they were just like, oh, you know what? We never finished that third radio drama. So
that means Yardley Smith. Simpsons was already on by that point. So I wonder if it was jarring to suddenly hear Lisa Simpson's voice coming out of EV99, unless they electronically
they did
a filter over it and
but
stuff.
But Lisa's always trying to clarify whether or not you are a protocol droid. That's classic Lisa.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that they were like, there's no way we could get Frank Oz to come back. We better get John Lithgow instead. Famous movie actor John Lithgow, who at the time was likely starring in Third Rock from the Sun. It's like,
that's probably why. He played an alien on that show. But
I want Frank Oz!
He was reprising his role from he was also in the Empire radio drama. He was Yoda,
they were keeping that cheerfully withdrawn.
Not
then
sure.
I like
now
it.
That Asterios has withdrawn that, I'm going to die on that hill.
No, then I like it. Then I like that a lot, actually.
Listen, whatever is good, I'm here.
He's here. Come on.
Right, there you go.
Well, I lost track of where I was in this whole thing, so I'm just going to cheerfully move along.
Look, right. I'll get you back on track. I'll get you back on track here. What?
I appreciate it.
I don't know why plugging the droid into the ship sucks all of the data out of the droid and sucks it into the ship. When I take a USB drive and I plug it into my computer, it doesn't vacuum the contents of the USB drive. Yeah. Data can be copied and shared. Except this time, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
that bother anyone else?
Maybe.
Not as much as trapping her conscious, the thought of.
No, that's a different conversation. Obviously, the idea that they're removing her agency, dehumanizing her. I know she's a droid, but but that's a different conversation. It's
I think that's
come on.
Especially because as a character, her whole thing was about not having her autonomy respected.
Yeah,
and then
freedom.
We'll show you once your body dies, we're going to make you an appliance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we'll get into this sadder conversation then. Yeah, it's I get what they were doing, and I think it's a very clever way to add another layer to calling the ship she, calling the ship baby, and it certainly explains why Lando wants this ship, because his girlfriend's soul is inside it. But yeah, it is a very sad and tragic end to this character, and like I think it's a very interesting way to show that Han doesn't consider droids to be at parity with humanity. Like he certainly does it in the follow-on movies either. Like he just turned C-3PO off at one point. Like it would be like, Ralph, I don't like your complaining. I'm gonna knock you out with this blackjack.
Again.
I mean that just seems normal to me, but
Getting blackjacked?
He does live in Jersey City.
He does live in Jersey.
it's Jersey City, man. It's a tough neighborhood.
Well, speaking, if we could back up for a second about Donald Glover and his Lando impersonation, I do like he says. I forgot the exact. I have a transcript here somewhere, but it seems. Oh, when Han says, "I'm going to take a shortcut through there," and Lando says, "Into the Maelstrom." He says it. He's saying the word what we would normally say Maelstrom, but he says Maelstrom, which fits because he also says Falcon. The Falcon. We're going to take the Falcon through the Maelstrom.
And malt liquor.
Exactly.
And Darth Maul.
Darth Maelstrom.
Darth Malt liquor.
Darth Malt. Darth Maltz. Choi Chu. The
Doesn't Han also say Falcon?
Han does say Falcon.
Falcon. Right, but that's because that was the name of it when he got it. So
you know what? My old boss at the bakery, buddy there, he's kind of a master of malapropisms. He's always saying things wrong. I'll never forget the time that he was trying to express to someone who he kept missing at different functions that they were passing like two ships in the night, but he couldn't remember how that went. So he said, "We're like two boats."
It's a good one.
But what was I talking about? Yeah.
Maelstrom.
When we made the Millennium Falcon on Buddy versus Duff a season or two ago, he kept saying Falcon, and everyone on the crew was giving him crap about it. They're like, Falcon, it's the Millennium Falcon. And I'm like, half the people who say the name of that ship in those movies say it that way, you guys. Like, I don't want to stand up for him, but he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Not in this instance.
The end.
Well, speaking of good things, we get a little, both a Han Solo says, "I have a really good feeling about this."
Yeah.
Which is, of course, a spin on the classic line, which was in almost every movie.
Mm-hmm.
How's the panel feel about it?
I thought it was very funny. That actor delivers it well. I feel like that actor feel like Donald Glover gets too much credit, and the Han Solo guy, what's his name, like Echo Eisenhart? I don't know.
Echo Eisenhart.
He gets too little credit. I feel like we got to balance those credits out. You know what I mean?
By your own
Echo Eisenhart also would have been a better name than Tobias Beckett.
That's a terrifying Echo Eisenhart. Yikes.
Yeah. I'm scared.
Look. I don't. How the hell do you even do a Harrison Ford impression? He's just very confident, and charming. Like he doesn't have like a goofy voice you can riff on. I thought this guy did great. I thought that was real funny.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the absolute like catbird smile that he has in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way he delivers the line. It almost sounds, in a weird way, it makes me sad because like he says it with such earnestness, and clearly things are not going to go well. Or I guess in this case, he does escape, so at least there's that. But
he says it like earnest. He's
that
like, "Hey,
face he
bird."
makes is about to open a Christmas present.
Yeah, exactly. He seems so, I think, like, he's just so excited to be driving a ship that he doesn't, he's just not really thinking too much about what's going to be happening in the immediate future. Right. And then every time after that, he's got a bad feeling about it. So this is probably the last time he had a good feeling in his life.
His last good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad in that sense.
It is.
Every time he has a bad feeling about this, he's correct, right? It's not like he was about to get that medal at the Yavin Forum Assisi Temple and he was like, I got a bad feeling about this. There's not enough of them from my buddy. Like, he had a good feeling about that, and then he got a medal.
Yeah. So you think he said right before he went out, he said to Luke, I got a good feeling about this.
Yeah.
And
it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if he ever had a bad feeling about it and then it wasn't. Like, maybe we just learn, maybe his expectations are just changed. He realized, hey, if I just go out there and say I have a bad feeling about this, I can only be, surprised pleasantly.
Right.
Either I'm right or I'm happy. Whereas if I go out there and say I have a good feeling about this, I can be right and happy, or there's a chance that I'm both kind of, completely ruined and wrong. So, hedge your bets.
That was how I went into the Tim Story Fantastic Four movie back like 20 years ago.
You had a bad feeling about it?
I was like, I got to manage my expectations here.
Yeah.
You know what? It's fine-ish.
The fine-ish four.
What did your wife think of it? Did she think it was okay?
She thought it was okay-ish.
There you go.
Okay. Sounds like you guys are on the same page.
I don't think that's a callback because we talked about that before we started recording.
Yeah, it's a callback to the green room, but just everybody picture it was hilarious. I wanted to talk real quick about the ventral gun pedals.
Yes! What the hell were those?
Yeah.
They had like organ pedals. He was like organ grinder with those things.
Now, obviously we didn't see them the first time when Han and Luke were using the guns, but that doesn't mean that they weren't there. Because I was talking to, after a show recently, a friend of the show, former guest of the show, Mark McConville, who was playing pedal steel guitar. And I went up to talk to him while he was still kind of at the guitar. And I noticed for the first time, not only are there pedals, but there's extra things that go on your knees that move. You can move your knees back and forth, and that controls the sound. And he told me, he's like, you don't even know the half of it. Those move up and down, too. So there's a lot of extra controls that you don't see on a pedal steel guitar. And so this reminded me of that there's like, there's a lot of things that go into controlling this this ventral cannon.
Well, yeah, along with the pedals, you also have all the stops on the side that you have to pull out for like whichever octave or like Vox Dei, all of that.
Exactly. And you crank the thing and then you blow up the TIE fighter.
Plus, you got that big bass drum strapped to your chest, and you have to do that, and the cymbals. It's a lot going on.
Washboard.
And the
fiction's
kazoo.
complicated.
Yes. Yeah. It's that complicated to run a pedal steel guitar. You have to like use like 40 different implements to play the blues. How much blues is inside you that you need like 9 different ways to attenuate the flow of the blues?
A lot of blues.
These guys are blue.
Yeah. They're always saying how bad they have the blues.
Yeah,
they do.
I like that we get to see the, I mentioned the cannon much earlier on in our coverage, but I like the fact that we get to see it is a different cannon than the, the pedals might not even be there because as we see, the Falcon gets really messed up during this flight. So it's possible that they had to replace the whole, they obviously had to replace the gun cannons because they look different, but the whole thing might be.
They might have added the autofocus.
Yeah.
Is that gun Legends now?
Yeah. The Ventral Legends.
Yeah, you're right, because it's a quad laser cannon, and it's a lot more fun later on. Like when like Rey is like going up and down and zooming around in that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very
She's got the pedals.
Finn
didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
Well, why would you?
Yeah. So not only is Rey was flying this ship, Finn was the one in the cannons, right?
Oh,
but then later Rey does it too, right?
I thought Rey did it in the third one, but I might be wrong.
And Chewbacca ate the puffin.
No, he was going to.
No, he ate one. We see him eat one, but then he does dress and completely cook another one, but he doesn't eat the other one. And that's his turning point. That's when he realizes
he
that
becomes a vegan.
These birds have both lost something.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else for minute number 87 of Solo, a Star Wars story?
Is that what we're talking about?
Partially. Also obeys your commands.
It's kind of a bland minute. I won't lie.
I like it. going through that cloud tunnel. That's it. And then they cut to Chewbacca right before he does it, and Chewbacca's like, don't do this. And I'm like, oh my God, he definitely shouldn't do it now. Oh, he did it. Ah!
You went there.
Chewbacca did have the plan. This whole plan was Chewbacca's essentially, right? That he
to
was,
go to Kessel, yeah.
Taking them to Kessel to begin with. So I wonder if he did have a different plan to get them out of it. Anyway, worth thinking about. Let's come back tomorrow.
Yeah, let's come back tomorrow.
Let's come back tomorrow. Do you guys have other podcasts that you want to promote here at this point?
Me?
You know what? Yeah, kind of.
Well, tell us what you got. Show us what you got.
I do a bunch of stuff with Dueling Genre, the guys who do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Minute. We've got a real play, like tabletop role-playing game podcast where we do sequels to movies that didn't have sequels.
Huh.
Like Hudson Hawk?
Or we do more sequels to movies that did have sequels.
What's the name of the podcast?
I don't know.
All right, people should check that out.
Show up, you read your lines, and you're out.
Yeah.
Are you going to really quickly make this podcast before this show
it exists.
airs?
It's real.
But you don't know the name of it.
We did Ghostbusters
Sequel
3.
Maker podcast.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I picked last, and I had to be Donatello.
What about you, Asterios? Where can people hear your voice these days besides here?
You can listen to me on the Loudest podcast. As the loudest member of the Star Wars Minute family, it's only fair that I should have the loudest podcast for the show that I do with my fiance, Sriracha, who was on a set of Star Wars Minutes previously. And you can hear it on iTunes, Spotify. It's on YouTube. If you're one of those kids that only listens to podcasts on YouTube, wherever you can listen to podcasts, you can find the Loudest podcast.
But now I'm his fiance because I'm on the Star Wars Minute.
There you go.
That's how it works.
It is
my fiance now.
She's out of the country. Now it's like,
Ralph's pretty cool.
Whatever happens in Kessel stays in Kessel.
I will, of course, promote my podcast, Godfather Minute. If anyone's been checking out The Offer on Paramount Plus, my brother and I have been discussing it over on the Godfather Minute as part of our regular coverage of Godfather Part 2. And Pete, are you guys on hiatus now from ABC DTOS?
We are donezo with the classic original trilogy. Original trilogy. I'm mixing my metaphors, but the Star Trek, the original series, we did every episode in alphabetical order, and we're taking a little bit of a breather, and we're doing, I think they're going to be monthly. We're going to do one episode for each of the original cast movies in alphabetical order, of course. That first one may have already come out, or may not have. It's, of course, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Are you counting Generations as a Star Trek original cast movie? No. Okay. Fair enough. Well, now that we got that out of the way, we hope you will come back to see us tomorrow for another brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.